Okay, today we're going to make bao buns. We're going to do 3 different fillings. We're going to do a chicken, a beef, and a pork. We're also going to make 3 different sauces to go along with each different protein. My main problem with bao buns was they're just too small. So we're going to make some big ones today and fill them with all kinds of good stuff. Also with the bao buns, I was flicking through my Instagram the other day and I saw people frying them. So we're also going to be doing that. Okay, to start with, we're going to make the bao bun dough. So I've already got my flour in here. As always, all the amounts and ingredients are going to be on the website, traditionalbutnot.com. Flour's already in my little stand mixer here. I'm going to add about a teaspoon of the sugar, and we're just going to get that incorporated, just like that. And now we make a bit of a well with the flour, and we crumble in the fresh yeast. Once you got all your fresh yeast crumbled in there, you're going to add some of the liquid. Now, with the liquids, it's water and coconut milk, and I've just measured it out and mixed the 2 together. It shouldn't be a problem like that. So we're going to add about a quarter of it, and we're just going to close it up, and we're going to start to get this all incorporated on a low speed. As you got your stand mixer running on a low speed here, just start flicking the flour into the center, just so it helps it out incorporate a little bit better. After it's been mixing around for about 5 minutes there, and you're flicking it in the center as it was running, you should have something that resembles this. If your dough was getting all bunched up on the hook there, just stop it and scrape it off, and then put it back in and start it again. So all your yeast should be incorporated, and you should have a little shaggy mess like that. And you're going to cover it. Now you could use some plastic wrap or anything like that, but a dinner plate will be fine. So I'm going to cover this up, and I'm going to stick it in my oven that's off. It's just a good place to rest any doughs. Little hot tip there. And we're going to leave it in there for about 15 minutes and then we'll come back. I've had the dough resting for about 15 minutes now, and we got it back on the stand mixer. So now we're going to add the rest of the ingredients, which is the rest of the sugar and some salt. Going to add the neutral oil, the rest of the water and coconut milk. We'll close this up, and then we'll start it off on a slow speed to get it all incorporated, and then we'll speed it up and knead it. Okay, so you can see, my dough's just come together. I had it running on a low speed for about 2 or 3 minutes there, and it's just come together. So I'm going to close it back up, and on my Kenwood machine, I'm going to put it on about speed 3 and let it mix for about 10 minutes. It's been mixing away for about 10 minutes there. As you can see, we've got a nice smooth ball of dough that needs to rest. So off it comes from the machine. So with the dough, as you can see, when I pull it apart, it does break apart. As it rests, the gluten will strengthen in it, and it will rise in size. Now you could use a dinner plate for this as well, but I think it's going to be better if we use some plastic wrap with some grease on the top. In case this rises too much, it'll won't stick everywhere. Little bit of greased plastic wrap. All right, now we're going to set this back in our oven that's off, and we're going to let this double in size. Should take around an hour or so in this temperature. It's been a little over an hour, and my dough's doubled in size. So now I need to weigh it. So I've got my little scale here. My dough weighs out to exactly 816 grams. We're going to plop this onto the work surface. We're going to give it a little bit of a knead by hand, just because, dough feels amazing. So we'll give it a little quick knead, just for a couple of minutes, and then we'll come back. I've kneaded the dough for a couple of minutes here, and now I'm going to divide this into 6 parts. I'm going for a bit of a bigger, more hot dog style bao bun today. So that's why I'm making them so big. If you wanted to do the more traditional smaller ones, you would just make them smaller. Quite simple. So I'm just going to go ahead and divide this into 6 equal parts. I've got them all portioned out here. So we're just going to, simple enough, just flatten them out a little bit. Something like that, doesn't have to be perfect. And then we're just going to fold it in on each other, on itself like that. And then just give it a little roll up. Trying to keep as much tight and tension in this area as you can. Then when you get it like that, just with your thumb and your fingers there, you just want to roll it around into a nice tight little ball. So you want to push down a little bit, and with your thumb, as you're coming around, you just sort of tuck it in under itself to keep the tension. And then when you get your ball something like that, you just want to put it off to the side and carry on with the rest of them. Okay, after you got them all rolled out into balls, you just want to scoot them off to the side of your table there. Cut them with a tea towel that's stained. It's fine. And you just want to let them rest for about 15 minutes. So after you let your dough rest for about 15 minutes there, you're just gonna roll them out. Before you start rolling them out, you should go ahead and get some parchment paper already ready. So we're gonna roll them out to roughly the length of the parchment paper, but a little bit wider because we're gonna fold them in half. So have your parchment paper all cut up. You wanna get your dough, and you wanna just start rolling it out. You want the final dough to be about 1/2 centimeter thick, and roughly, because my parchment paper is 19 centimeters long, you want it about 19 centimeters long. So dough should look a little something like that. It's about the length of my parchment paper. Just on the one side, I've got some neutral oil here. I'm just going to brush the whole inside with the oil. And what this is going to do is when it cooks, it's going to help it not stick together in the middle as easy. So you'll be able to have that signature bao bun pull apart. So you just want to fold it over in a half shape like that. Plop it on your parchment paper and carry on with the rest. Once you got your bao buns all rolled out and shaped like this, you just want to go ahead and cover them with a stained clean towel for about 20 minutes while you get your steamer basket ready. So I've had the baos covered over on the table for about 20 minutes there, and I've also had my steamer basket on top of the water, steaming away. Also with the lid of the steamer basket, I've just got another cloth and I've just put it around the top, so when the steam comes up, none of the condensation comes to the top and then drops back down on your bao buns. I've got a double decker here, and I'm probably only going to get 2 on each layer. So you just want to load them in. One of the key things to putting them in here is not to overcrowd. If you overcrowd your steamer, these are not going to cook at all. Talking from past experience here. You just want to load them in, place the lid on. Now these are going to go back on top of the pot, and they're going to steam away for about 15 minutes. And then we're going to take it off of the heat, leave the lid on, and just let it sit for another 10 minutes off of the heat. Then once we've done that, we'll come back. So after 15 minutes of cooking, and then 10 minutes of resting off the heat, your bao buns are ready. I've got my oil up to temperature. It's running about 185 to 190, which is going to be just fine, because it will drop once you put some stuff in there. Got my bao bun, and you just want to drop that in. And these won't take long, and you just want to fry it till it's nice and crispy on both sides, or it's got a nice bit of colour on both sides. It'll only take about a minute or so each side. So as I said, doesn't take long. That was about a minute. You just want to go ahead and flip it over, and then if you got any little blonde spots just while the other side's browning, just go ahead and give it a little baste, and it'll be all nicely evened browned. And after both sides are nicely browned, you just want to go ahead, take it out the oil, transfer it onto a plate with some paper towel, while you crack on with the rest. So the first sauce we're going to make is going to be this sweet and spicy gochujang based sauce. So I've already got my gochujang in there. I've got 1 clove of minced garlic, and to that I'm going to add a tablespoon of brown sugar. Also you're going to add 2 tablespoons of honey, or in my case here I'm using agave syrup. You're going to also add about 3 tablespoons rice vinegar, and you're going to also add a teaspoon sesame oil. Once you got them all, the ingredients in the bowl, you just want to go ahead and mix it up till it's combined. Once you've got it all mixed in there and looks like that, you just want to give it a taste, which I already did. And I think it just needs a little bit of salt. So we'll plop that in, we'll mix that in, and then we'll set it aside till we're ready for it. To make the satay sauce, I'm going to get some unsweetened peanut butter into a bowl. If you use the regular peanut butter, you can omit the honey we're going to put in here. And then you're going to put a tablespoon of honey, or in my case, agave syrup. Then you're going to put in 1 tablespoon of soy sauce. And we've got the juice of half a lime, a little bit of the pulp in there, just fine. And then we got 2 tablespoons of coconut milk going in, well, maybe 2.5. Now we're just going to mix this up and see how we're looking. Once you've got your mix all nice and smooth and looking like that, you just want to transfer it into a little saucepan there, and you just want to heat it gently. And then once you get a little bit of heat in there, we'll add a little bit more coconut milk. And you just want to go ahead and add some of your coconut milk, and you just want to stir it in to goodbye. Once you got your coconut milk added and you stirred it in, you just want to, over a medium heat, you just want to keep stirring it, and you just want to reduce it to your desired consistency. Then once your sauce is looking a little something like that, you want it a little more runnier than you think, because as this cools down, it will thicken up on you. So I've already given it a little taste. and of course there's a little bit of salt. So we'll go ahead and season it to your preferred liking, and then we'll set it aside till we're ready to use it. For our third sauce, we're going to make a little bit of a play out of sweet and sour sauce. Well, in my taste, it's sweet and sour. So we're going to start with some dark soy, 3 tablespoons. Then we got 2 tablespoons of ketchup mayonnaise or sweet soy sauce. We're going in with 2 tablespoons of black Chinese vinegar. And then to finish off, 2 tablespoons of ketchup. Once you got all that in there, you just want to mix it up to combine. Once you got your sauce all mixed up and combined, you just want to plop it in a pan over a medium heat, and you just want to reduce this slightly to your desired consistency. Now for me, when it just slowly comes back together like that, it's ready. So you want to take it off the heat and get it back into a bowl, ready to be tasted for seasoning. So I just got it back into the bowl. It gave it a little bit of a taste, and we're going to need to add a teaspoon of brown sugar to this. As it's still a little bit warm, the sugar should dissolve in there quite easily. After tasting the sauce again, it's still a little bit bitter for some reason. So I'm just going to try and balance it out a little bit more with a little bit more ketchup. Maybe we'll try off with 2 heaped teaspoons. We'll stir that in and we'll taste it again. Always test your stuff and then just add little bits at a time until you get the right taste and consistency you're looking for, which we've got right here. So now we're going to set this aside until we're ready to use it. Now real quick, we're just going to make a quick lime creme fraiche mayonnaise. So I've got an egg. I just cracked a whole egg in the bottom of my little container here. I'm going to add some mustard, and then that's the juice of half a lime. Going to add that much salt and some neutral oil. Now we're going to stick my immersion blender in, and we're going to turn it on, and as it starts to emulsify, we'll slowly pull up on it and we'll have mayonnaise. So I got my mayonnaise, poured it out into a bowl there. Now, I made it quite thick by design, because when we add the creme fraiche, it is going to thin it out a little bit. I've got my creme fraiche in the bowl, and as you can see, I added a fair whack of it, because we want this to cut through the heat of the sauces there that we have, well, especially that gochujang one. It's got a bit of a kick to it. So we'll just get that mixed up. And as you can see, it's still got a nice thickness to it, but it has thinned it out to the right consistency in my book. So if you wanted it a little thinner, you could have just added just a touch of water to the mayonnaise before you put it in the bowl. But for me, that's perfect. So we're going to transfer this into a little squirty bottle until we're ready to use it. So now it comes time to get ready to fry the meat. Now I've got my pork, chicken and beef here. The beef is a XO flank steak, which XO stands for extra old cows. The chicken is from a chicken that I broke down for a previous video, and this is just the tenders and one of the breasts that I've just cut up into strips, which all the meat I've just cut up into strips. And I've got some pork here, which I've also just cut into thin strips. So I'm going to get all these meats out onto the plates in front of them, and then we're just going to put some cornstarch on and give them a coating in cornstarch. So as you can see, got the meat all out on the plate. Now I'm just going to add a little bit of salt to all of them. And now with the cornstarch, I'm just going to add a heaping tablespoon to each plate, and then we'll get in there with our hands and we'll get it all mixed up. And if you need to add more to get all the pieces of meat covered, we'll add it then, which I think this one's going to need a little bit more. So once you got your oil up to temp, you want to get your beef and do it in batches. Make sure you're not overcrowding. And you just want to fry it until it's crispy. It won't take too long to fry. So obviously, because the meat's cut really thin, it doesn't take long. So once your colour looks good, you just want to remove them to a paper towel lined tray. Now, when you first take them out, they won't feel very crispy. But as they sit and you cook the rest of them, as they cool, they will crispen up. So you just want to go ahead and remove them all and carry on with the rest of the meat. So the hardest bit about making this was actually trying not to eat all the meat as you're frying it in batches, because it is absolutely amazing. Also, as you can see here, you don't actually have to fry the bao, but I'll let you know if it's any better or not. Oh, that's so good. It's so good. Sometimes I shock myself. This is so damn good. It's just fried goodness at its best. But also you have this The freshness coming from the coriander and the pickled daikon, which we didn't film, but it's pickled daikon. It's very simple to make, but so good, so good. Okay, this one was the beef with the gochujang sauce. And now this one's a little bit of a different creation. This one has the satay with the beef and also some gochujang sauce. Let's go in. It's also very good. The fried ones are really good. The fresh ones are really good. The only difference is these ones are a little softer, obviously because they're not fried on the outside. But both of them are absolutely amazing. I'm definitely going to be making these again because we gotta stop filming. I gotta eat. When I assembled these bao buns, each of the sauces that we made are very interchangeable. You could use them for beef, chicken, or the pork. It doesn't matter which way you did it. To fill the bao buns, I went down with a good layer of sauce, then meat, then a bit more sauce over the meat, because the sauces are a bomb. They're really, really good. Then I went in with some of the cabbage, which I just cut up some purple cabbage, put a bit of the creme fraiche mayo over it, and that's also really good. Grated some carrot, and also you got to put some sort of pickle in there. And I had some pickled daikon in the fridge already, so I'll bang that on there. A little bit of fresh chili as well, bit of coriander, creme fraiche mayo over the top, and it was ready. And may I add, tastes so damn good.